Hello, my chicklets. Thank you for stopping by. Today is day 6 in our AU August series. This one is a roommates AU. So fittingly, it is titled, And They Were Roommates. This was not what Patton expected when he agreed to move in with Remus. He had expected a bit of chaos, maybe a bit of grossness and horror. He didn't expect to fall in love. He didn't think that he would see the soft side of his roommate. Remus was a creative individual, but in the way the original Saw movie was creative, Patton never thought that he would have late-night conversations about society, the world, and their respective places in it. He was blindsided by how clean and organized Remus kept everything, completely taken aback by how consciously his roommate acted around him. It was like having his eyes opened up to a completely new world. And somewhere in between Remus comforting him when he had nightmares and the two of them sharing movie nights where they came up with alternate endings, Patton felt deeply and completely in love. There was only one major problem with that. Remus was dating Janice. Patton never knew how to feel about his roommate's boyfriend. He didn't necessarily give off bad vibes, but there was always something that made Patton feel off. He was probably just jealous, but Patton wasn't completely sure that's what the feeling was. He needed to spend time with Janice on his own, get to know him better. Maybe then the feeling would go away. "Hey, Daddy-O!" Remus shouted from the front door. "I brought Jan over. Hope you don't mind." "Of course not. Are you both staying for dinner?" "Nah, we're gonna go out dumpster diving. Well, I'm gonna dumpster dive. Jan's gonna look out for cops." One of us has to have some sense of self-preservation. "Boo! What fun is that?" Remus went off to his room, leaving Patton and Janice alone in the living room. The surge of nervousness plagued him, and Patton bit his lip. Now was as good a time of any, wasn't it? "Hey, Janice, would it be cool if we hung out, just the two of us? I want to get to know you better since you're so important to Remus." Janice looked at him with surprise, his eyebrow raised. "Really now?" "It's just, you're really important to Remus, so it would be good for me to get to know you better, right? Since Remus is also important to me." "Interesting. Very well." He pulled his phone out of his pocket and shared his contact information with Patton, getting his in return. "I'll send you a message when I think of a good time to meet." That was good. Patton had a little time to prepare. "Okay." He smiled happily, missing the look that Janice gave him before Remus came bounding out of the room. "Ready to go?" "Of course." Patton waved both of them off before slowly going to the kitchen to have dinner alone while Remus was out on his date. In another week, before Janice finally messaged him with a date and time that they could meet up, Patton's nerves all came back. He didn't want Janice to think he was trying to scare him off because he didn't want to upset Remus. He wasn't here trying to defend Remus's honor or anything like that. He just wanted to be more comfortable around someone that Remus found so important. Walking into the cafe, Patton looked around. Janice was flagging him down from one of the booths, and he made his way over. "Hello, Patton. It's a pleasure seeing you here." "We're supposed to meet here, silly." Janice rolled his eyes fondly and motioned for Patton to sit down. "So, why don't you tell me why you're really here?" "What?" "You're fidgeting, and you were the other day as well. So, obviously, something is on your mind." "I just want to get to know you. Scout's honor." Janice looked at him with piercing eyes that were tearing him apart, looking for an inch of subterfuge. "All right, then. What is it you want to know?" "I guess maybe why you wanted to be a lawyer. That's a good place to start, right?" "It's rather simple. I don't like the way the law has been used against people in vulnerable positions. I figured if I put myself in a position to help, then I might be able to do some good." Patton nodded. That was actually a lot sweeter than he thought it would be. "A question for you. Why did you move in with Remus?" Well, it was fair that Janice got to ask a question back. "I didn't at first. I only knew him from reputation, but I was close friends with his brother, and Remus and I were both looking to move out to the same area. It's easier to afford a place if you share it, and honestly, I'm really glad I got the chance." They traded questions back and forth, and Patton was filled with a mix of happiness and longing as he realized that Janice was really good for Remus. It made him happy that his friend found someone who cared for him, but it also made Patton sad because he could see the writing. Janice was in it for the long haul. I only have one more question for you, Patton. Are you going to tell him? What? Are you going to tell Remus that you are in love with him? Oh, no, I'm not. I mean, even if I was, I couldn't. Patton stumbled over his words, cheeks red until he let out a slow breath. I couldn't do that to him. He already has a very loving boyfriend who cares about him. I'm fine with just sitting by his side. I don't want to get in the way of your relationship. Janice swirled the straw around his tea. If that's what you want, far be it from me to stop you, but you do know that Remus is polyamorous, right? Patton wasn't sure he had ever heard the word before. What? He's polyamorous, meaning he intends to have multiple partners. He and I have already discussed it and what it would mean for our relationships. He's not exclusively mine. Patton felt a bubble of hope stir in his chest as he began to examine what that would mean for him. So I wouldn't be messing anything up. Janice chuckled. No, not at all. Oh, that's a relief. He wasn't sure if he had the bravery to tell Remus, but knowing it was still an option filled him with hope. Janice went to stand. I'm sure I've given you a lot to think about, so why don't you take some time to do that? And if you have questions, text me. This was interesting. He smirked, going to the counter to pay, leaving Patton blushing in the booth. He bit his lip slowly. Maybe he was rushing things, but he didn't want to wait. Pulling out his phone, he texted Remus. Hey, I think I'm in love with you. Can we talk about it tonight? He got 2 texts in response back to back, several heart emojis, and yeah, I would love that. Thank you all for listening. Again, this was And They Were Roommates, and it is the day 6 of our AU August. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have a wonderful day.